favorite color? A pink.
Welcome on everybody, back again with another episode of a talk. Today, you could see it's daytime. That's the first thing first. We also have a little live audience with us this time.
A little live listening audience.
First time we in front of such a big audience. They're here watching us, but in a tablet. So just bear in mind if you hear anything in the background, it's the kids. We're trying to do a podcast at the same time with the kids. And this thing actually made me to think on something. When you sent me something on Instagram, I think it was a day or 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken, and it was talking about de-influencing. If I get it right?
Yeah, let me de-influence you.
Yeah, it was like a picture with a lady and
a messy background.
Yeah, she kind of showing her bedroom messy, her house messy, her garage messy.
Yeah.
And she just kind of showing you what you don't typically see on social media. How you feel about when you first see the post?
When I first saw it, I was like wondering, I wonder if she posed the wrong thing. And then after, because I just follow this person, she's very, she makes a living off of making content on Instagram. And I just follow a lot of people who I can relate to.
Yeah.
Or like, okay, she's a mother, she has children, she make content with it. And when I saw that post, I was like, that's strange. And, me to see like, okay, when you're on a content creator, you just gotta make sure the background is good.
Exactly.
The surrounding areas look good.
Exactly.
But this time, when I saw it, it says on it, let me de-influence you. So then I was like, this is interesting. So at first glance, I was like, something maybe. But then I read the
Caption?
The caption, and it says, let me de-influence you. I find it was really interesting. Sorry, I'm trying to focus here because...
Hey, a little lower. Okay? Yeah, so you tell me I was watching it and...
it give a good perception because sometimes when you are... sometimes that what social media does, it makes you think of things that, you have to be this... Not perfect, because nobody's perfect, but it does either way make you think like if you're doing something wrong or so forth, and it also does put pressure on yourself too. And I think that is a concept, the idea she's trying to bring across. Like sometimes you see she posts pictures of her laundry room.
Yeah.
And then you saw like the laundry room, her clothes all over. But she kind of give it like a realistic standpoint, like you're only human.
Yeah.
And it's not all the time her house or it's always clean.
The reason, the reason why we wanted to also just push into the podcast, because it could be easy for us to just say, no.
Yeah.
The kids here, it's not like we can't get a babysitter, but we say, you know what?
That's true.
Let's just try the reality of what actually it does be. See how it work out. If it work out, we could continue it.
Yeah.
And like every time it's going to be just us, because usually when we do the guests, it's late at night.
Yes.
So they're sleeping already, but due to certain circumstances, we're doing the podcast now. We're trying to do something different, and because it's just us, we decided to do it in the daytime.
Yeah. So if you notice, this time we don't have any guests with us today.
No.
We decided okay, it's nice to really don't forget about ourselves and do a podcast with just us and giving our point of view. And one thing I want to highlight is that it's our opinion.
Yeah.
And it's not like we any experts or anything, but this is us.
Yeah. And bringing us to that is like a lot of times I would have decided to just say, okay, I can't do it. Then I just can't do it. I just have to do it the next time. And we just trying to stick it through and do it like we said before. What I really want to talk about, because we in a specific month.
Yeah, we're in the month of May.
Month of May is
Mental Health Awareness Month. And then June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah, well,
I don't know how come they specifically choose the other one. I guess it's in general in May. But then I noticed that June is specifically for men. And I think June is also the month of Father's Day too.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that could be a reason why too. But when we started the podcast, we specifically said that mental health is something we were really going to look towards and really try to Zoe, give us 1 hour. And something that we say that we're going to try to emphasize inside of the podcast as much as possible. So it's something that we're trying our best to... you have to sit down there so the camera don't see you. Okay? After when we're done, your camera going to see you after, okay?
Yeah.
So it's something we really want to emphasize inside of the podcast and try to do as much as possible. So definitely this month we're going to have some good episodes coming forward. We have some already planned, some already going on. So it's something very exciting, some deep episodes.
I laughing because you told her about the camera. You see her going over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, we can't stop that. So we'll see how far we make it, and we'll go from here. So it's Mental Health Aware this month in May. So expect some in-depth podcast for sure.
So you always ask this in the podcast. Mm-hmm. What is mental health to you?
Mental health to me is it's not, excuse the laughing. Well, mental health to me, if I'm being honest, is like kind of something that is inward, not outward. So it's something that mental health to me is finding yourself, taking time for yourself, making sure you take time for you to go through your emotions and the different things that, just happening for me personally. Mental health is more of a thing that you only could do kind of for yourself, because that's the only way you can make yourself better. So that's how I see mental health. How you personally feel about mental health?
Well, I think, by the way, sorry for laughing. It's just some things happening behind the scenes. Mental health for me is about self-awareness, knowing about yourself, really digging deep within yourself. I'm also a deep thinker. So sometimes you also have to know, okay, like when you know it's too much, to take a moment and really, sit it through or find ways that can help you, how do you say, neutralize?
Unwind.
Unwind, I should say.
So, for example, let's say we ask other guests this question: how you yourself does, how do you just know when you want to take some time for yourself, and what do you just do when you want time for yourself?
I just know, like, when I'm easily irritated, like easily bothered, and especially to you all, like not like I'm looking for anything, but it's just that you're easily annoyed, and I say that's when I notice, like, okay, you need to do something about yourself.
Yeah.
Because why you so
Irritated.
normally
Easily irritated.
Yeah, easily irritated, and for me to cope with it is I need time for myself, listen to music, and quietness. I need a moment of quietness, and even sometimes taking a drive.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't do it all the time. Sometimes we do it together.
Yeah.
Where we go away.
Exactly.
Where you have to, like, exclude yourself from the environment, I should say.
Yeah.
And you?
Basically, what I just do is like the same thing too. When I start to get irritated, I usually does the least thing I would do is take a vacation, take some day, and I don't necessarily have to leave the island. The most ideal one would be to leave the island, but for the most part, I'll just sit down and take vacation, come home. But I ain't come home to really sit down anyway. But I find more peace in doing things around the house and things like that. So that's more of my zen. I'll put a podcast or I'll put music to play in the background while doing cutting stuff, doing different things. And that's how I does personally unwind. So, for example, recently you could see, like, it got slightly changed inside the podcast room. I decided to make over and do over the whole background thing behind us. And change it up a little bit. So those are things that I do personally to help me unwind. It's nice when people come inside of the room and they're like, oh, I like the colors, I like this, I like that. So
I noticed that you just do that more consistently than I am. And I could say sometimes, like, I just come to you also for advice. And I just be like, how you just do it? I think your, I don't want to put it like, your tolerance or coping mechanism is more established, I should say.
I wouldn't say established. I think it's something that I personally put myself into. Like, I don't let external things really bother me as much. It might bother me a little bit, but you're never going to know that something bothering me at all. So I just kind of like shut off myself from certain stuff.
Yeah. Like, for example, you had an incident.
Oh, yeah, I had an incident.
With a Coran.
Yeah, with a Coran. I dropped a Coran on my foot.
On your toe?
And on my toe. Needed some stitches, and yeah, I just tried to suppress myself somehow, because I was trying my hardest not to send myself into like a shock.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I did leave myself let go, I would have either pass out or something, because I never felt nothing like that, pain like that in my life yet.
And I don't know how you cope with it, because I was in the kitchen cooking, and then I hear something really fall hard.
Yeah.
I hear anything, I say, let me go and check to see if you faint or something happened.
Yeah.
Because I hear no sound.
Yeah.
And I'm like, one day I see you in pain, I see it all in your face, and I'm like, my gosh. And then you didn't say anything, so I'm like, you really suppress yourself, like, you're feeling, because I like, if it was me, you would have known one time.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
I would have blurted out all kind of things, but you like, even then you contain yourself.
I mean, I just try my best to.
I don't know if it's a man thing or what, but
I doubt it. I think it's just me internally. I just didn't want to make a whole big scene about it. So even though it was a lot of pain, I decided not to really think myself about it. Yeah, it's just a normal thing. Let me switch topics a little bit. I wanted to talk to you about something specifically where, because it's a show that personally I only find out about it because of you. It's kind of big, but it is big. It's a big show. It's called Pop the Balloon.
yeah.
I sometimes I catch it when I watching it on Instagram, and something really blow up. Of course, it's gonna show up on your Instagram or your TikTok and things like that. Or you would send me, oh, look at this.
Yeah, I always used to send. I think I put you on it.
And then I end up watching it. I actually end up enjoying it for the most part. But then I noticed they have one now that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm all for black businesses, doing the thing and things like that. And I'm glad that they get the opportunity to put it on Netflix and things like that. But I would never watch it again.
You wouldn't watch it. I didn't get a chance to watch it, because for some reason, when I tried to open it on the account, it wasn't allowing me to open it.
I think that's a sign.
But I did see a lot of people talking about it, how bad or disappointed they were.
I don't want to use the word bad. I just was expecting something
similar,
different, very similar.
Maybe a different.
It's so different. So it having celebrity stuff, like I was like, I know them. They ain't like humongously big, but because of the shows others watch, like the challenge and things like that, I see people from it.
Oh,
and
okay.
I was like,
but how it came up? The conversations. What was it like? Like with ordinary people, and then
it come off like a joke. Honestly, it didn't come off as serious as how the one is on YouTube. The one you could get kind of, although it got some ones where the male or the woman asking a certain way and it end up a big thing, like the plumber guy who end up a whole thing where you're not qualified. But for the most part, a lot of the persons serious and actually looking to meet someone. Yeah. This one didn't give that impression at all.
Oh, that's amazing.
At all. I mean, go and watch it still just to see. But the first episode, because they ain't in it neither. They ain't in it at all. It's someone else, and that person could become another person from different shows and thing. But
it's still
how they structure the show itself. I kind of like. I prefer to just watch a YouTube one, to be honest. I'm happy to get money.
I see they continue and they put out a release stating that they still will continue with
so I'm happy that they continue that, because that one more serious. Even though
I'm happy for them that they end up on Netflix, but
and we had the back and forth where kind of like I feel like some of the things them did us deny the men for kind of like. So I personally myself, I prefer to see the ones where the males line up and the girls coming in. I don't like when the girls line up and the male coming in, because the things that have popped the balloon for just be so superficial to me.
I agree.
Like, for example, a different
I
color
agree.
chain. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
like or your shoes. Or your, it's the first time you've seen the person, they can either have an off day, or maybe the person that you like what to do, but it's something you could, after going out with a person from a lot of times, you ain't getting with the person to change the person, right?
Yeah.
But certain things gonna automatically change because you're in a relationship, for example. How you just feel about when you watch a specific thing?
I agree with it, and well, I agree with what you say, because a lot of the women, honestly, if you look at it, maybe they gotta do a survey on it, but most of them just pop the balloon based off the man height. That is something you can't change. You gone onto a dating show, that means you really want to find love, you really want to find a partner, but they pop the things on, yeah, like height. Majority of the time is based off the man's height. And then sometimes they come with the excuse, oh, my heels. Yeah,
4-inch
even
pumps.
even with the heels,
Yeah.
it should be a little higher.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. But I mean to say, if it's something that you can change, I don't feel like someone should pop the balloon based on the person's belt or
Just
okay, when it comes to hairstyle,
Yeah.
I could understand that, because some women really have a preference if they like bald heads, people with
Shorter
dreads,
hair,
hair, cornrows, and all of those. That's a personal thing, but even that you can change too.
Yeah.
But I always be like, don't judge a book by its cover, because there are so many layers to that. You're just looking at the surface level,
Yeah.
and you don't know the depth of the person. And they rarely have a few, but don't look on the looks. You do have, but majority of the time, sometimes the woman, I should say, men too does be harsh with the comments too. But when it comes to the woman, from time the man bend the corner, they don't pop in the balloon.
Yeah.
And that's it. I agree, you have to be attracted to the person, for sure. But I think maybe that's a other thing, maybe, or Pop the Balloon should look into, where they have like a other segment or series or something, where they have, like, you know how Love is Blind is,
Yeah.
where they can
Not see the
have a
person.
conversation and not see the person, and based on how the conversations go, you can proceed. I think that's the same way how Love is Blind set up, because you can start along as the show go. I think maybe they should do
Because you never seen a person until you say yes.
yeah.
That's when you seen a person. So
And maybe that one they could make it in a shorter way, because Love is Blind is a long series,
Yeah.
but maybe they can say, okay, based on the person
Yeah.
job or career, so people also look at that.
exactly.
But I really enjoy it, because it does give you we're not perfect, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
But it does give you, like, if you're really looking for a relationship, I'll just say look past the height. Look at the person for themselves, and really just have a conversation. You never know where that does go. And if it's something that a person cannot change, I feel like that I really hold that accountable. It's like, nobody make this out.
Yeah.
This is how I am.
Exactly.
And I can still give you the same qualities a person with a higher height can give you or something, but
also, like, for example, you come on a show, like a lot of them that travel to the show and go to the
oh
show.
yeah,
And then at the end of it, they say long distance.
yeah,
And like, you travel to come to the show. Not everybody gonna be from the same place. So when you come on the show, you got to anticipate that it could be a long distance. In the
Yeah.
beginning, it could change after, but you're probably gonna most of the time anticipate that that's what's gonna happen.
yeah. And you also have, like, opportunities to travel and see if you really like it. Sometimes maybe you might end up liking that area, that town, country more than where you located. So I feel like sometimes even that for sure is like the pop in the balloon for those things. Everybody entitled to their opinion, but
Yeah.
if you're really looking to find love, I think you gotta look beyond the surface. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
The surface level. And yeah, that's it. It's gonna go too long into this. And I don't want to come over as if I know it all.
Yeah.
But it got so many things that when
you
you
could
look at it, you can
nitpicking, yeah.
analyze and see, like, it's too much nitpicking, and
Exactly.
Yeah. As for the men, what I speaking on behalf of the women. What do you think about the men? What do you think they can improve on?
The men are gonna. I ain't a relationship expert. That's number one.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the men. I can't be because to me, they just be a lot more accepting of the situation, and I got some. Yeah, but then
Did I say you have to have a certain?
yeah, but then you're looking at to me. Then you're looking at the one out of the 30 something who gonna come in, and then
I don't think I watch it long enough.
maybe not because I don't watch every episode. I just watch episodes like once every blue moon. I watch an episode where I see you sitting down watching it. I end up sitting down watching you, but I ain't like a consistent every week sitting down and watching. So it could be that my thought of
But
it,
from what you see,
but from what I see, they just have some men that's looking for some outrageous things where they want a woman to look a specific way, shape a specific way, and things like that. But at the end of the day, yeah, those things in the beginning they're gonna be important for you because everybody does meet somebody, and the first thing thing is a physical attraction to the person.
Yeah.
That's automatically. If somebody say other than that, they kind of lying, in my opinion.
yeah.
And then based off of that, then you get to know the person. The person could look real good. You go on a first date, they can't carry a conversation. Then what?
Yeah, can't carry a conversation.
To me, that does make you kind of unattractive in a certain way. Like you can't carry a conversation, or maybe you I don't know. There are different things where could make you could look the best of the best, but if you can't simply just carry a conversation,
And
that is already kind of a downside of certain things. But they have some outrageous things, some of the men that ask for. Like I ain't want to say that they don't say nothing, but a lot of times it's just to see the women them. And usually when I see the different short clips and all, it's always sometimes it's things with men. But if I have to think it like 75% it's always when a woman do something and they blow up, and a lot of people are like, well, what's she really saying this and what the thing? And 25% to some man who do something weird, or they have a specific saying that go with it.
some of them really not come over harsh.
Yeah.
They're like, ooh,
Yeah, so
direct, especially when it comes to how the person looks.
Exactly. See, we on the topic of pop balloon. I mean, it ain't so like one hand in hand with the other thing, but it made me think on, for example, it have these shows.
Yeah.
And I know a big one right now is the show from Usher.
Yeah.
But it also have the shows like, for example, I know they had a show with O'Malley, where a certain person, girlfriend, ended up going on stage. I know they had one in Dominican Republic with, I think, Romeo Santos.
Yeah.
And then they have now the one with Usher going out with the Cherry.
Yeah.
So let's say you're going out.
I wouldn't. Okay, go
Let's say
ahead.
you're going out. And let's say it's the Usher show. I don't want to do the other ones there, but let's say it's the Usher show. How you feel where it pertains to the Cherry situation?
To me, it's an entertainment part of the show. The Cherry, I am fine with it. I fine with it. I don't know how you feel about seeing a woman taking a cherry from a man, but it's not like you can see the bowl that he had. I think he had a bowl with the cherries in it. So the person was not the only one receiving a cherry.
Yeah.
So I find it was a fun, different way to engage with his audience, the crowd, the fans. And compared to the one in DR, that one was more intimate because then he kissing, you're in physical contact with a person.
Yeah.
But a cherry, it's a cherry between you and him.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about it?
That one I honestly, I mean, some people might think, but that one I honestly don't feel aware of it. Why? Because, like you say, he have a whole bowl, he going around with a bowl. But it also going to have to do with how the woman like for example, he give the cherry, if she make a whole big show out of it, it will kind of make whoever she there, let's say she got her boyfriend, she do it right there, and he right there, and then she do like go a little extra with it.
Yeah.
I see how the person could feel a certain way, but to me, it's not as bad as the ones that I saw. For example, the one in Dominican Republic, where you're physically going on stage. And the one from Omalays, when she went on stage, she started grinding on him, dancing on him, and
Yeah.
kind of the boyfriend was like already like, the whole thing, and she actually went with him after, I think. And when it comes to those type of ones, that's a whole different situation.
Yeah.
But that one, that ain't so bad. That ain't so
That
bad.
ain't so bad. So it would be okay with me taking the cherry from
I
Usher
ain't went
then.
so far yet. I ain't gone so far, but I wonder if that's something you could kind of get over with.
Yeah.
But the other ones, you can't really get over with. You just come home and just meet all the clothes just outside. Just put on. And that's about it right there.
I mean to say, don't people get a red flag along the way?
I believe
you
so.
must know if the person done free enough to
do
feel, I should like to know or feel like because you would be okay with it. Then to me, I feel like something had to be not prohibited, but accepted, like agreement between two of them.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, I mean, alcohol will do a lot of things.
Yeah.
When people drink alcohol,
Yeah.
that you don't think. But when it comes to that, I feel like you had to have some type of flags along the way.
Yeah.
But just because it end up on big social media and so many people opinions, it get in their head, and then is when they find something about it.
Yeah. But I think it won't be an issue because if it ends up on social media, you technically kind of, hello,
One moment.
hello, hey, Salfa, talk Salfa. Like, for example, I think social media is going to make it bigger because it kind
Yeah.
of like technically embarrassing the person. So they don't have no other option but to react in a way
And defend.
that, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that does make it different.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's men, right? You have to, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I ain't want to go.
I don't want to go into depth.
It's too long.
But what do you think about changes, though?
Changes?
Yeah.
Changes in
Changes in general. You can meet someone, but then changes along the way.
I mean, nobody gonna stay the same, in my opinion. No matter if you meet someone and they're this way, they're going to 100% be this way next year. You have to change, but I think when you're changing, I'm talking about evolving
Okay.
into something better.
Yeah.
If you're changing for the worse, then we talking about a different situation. But also changing comfortable for everybody, depending on how your childhood you grow up. Certain changes gonna be more difficult than other changes. What might be easy for me might not be easy for the next person.
That is true.
So change is not something that's easy. So when you do see someone changing, you should admire that they're willing to for the better. You should admire that. But at the end of the day, everybody has to change. I don't think nobody is the same way they was 6 months ago.
yeah.
You just automatically evolve, and are just in the hopes that you change for the better and not for the worse.
Do you think there's a link?
Purpose is a bigger thing to me than just, for example, your passion. Your passion could be you want to do, for example, makeup, or I want to be a photographer, or are you doing carpentry? Those are passions. And then your purpose could be you're doing these specific things because you love people looking better in general, so that's why you like to do person's makeup. Or your purpose could be you like making people feel better
I
about
think it's
themselves.
more about that.
Yeah. And then passion is something, you got passion that is this time is this, and this time it changed to this. So,
Now we're getting into passion.
yeah, so finding your purpose itself is an ongoing process. It's not something that you could just automatically, and you're forever chasing your purpose and going through your purpose. It's very difficult something to really pinpoint and never really sit down and really think of it. Honestly, no.
Yeah.
I just going about life how I see it should go.
Accepting changes, like it's an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
To me, a lot of things does with your timeline in life. I think a lot of things does happen, and when those things happen, it builds you.
Yeah.
So it kind of like it's like an onion. So like until a certain situation happen or whatever happened, you kind of find more about yourself and more deeper into what your purpose is.
Yeah.
And having a clearer perspective of that.
Yeah.
I can't compare myself from when I was a teenager to now.
Yeah.
Maybe when I was a teenager, it was different. But to now is like, okay, my purpose is to build connections, make the community better.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm only one person, but
Yeah.
I just love helping.
Yeah.
I love being there for people, and I find like that's my purpose. And I feel like as humans, no, I ain't telling you what your purpose should be, but I feel like as humans, we should be able to come together. And this is a part of the podcast too. Like, when it comes to the podcast, I feel like we're doing this for a purpose. Our purpose is to, like, although we live in a small island, everyone still lives in their own hub.
Yeah.
And we don't really have so much events to say we're going out. And sometimes when you go out to those events, you just usually see the same people all the time. And I mean, that's nice for them. But I mean to say, the purpose of this too was like to bring different people from different backgrounds and get a understanding. I say, like, create an understanding community base.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you may see me, but you never had a conversation about me, so you have a
Pre-assumption.
pre-assumption of who I am. And I think, like, when we have these talk shows, conversations, I should say, with regular people who you will see on a day-to-day, not like them telling us their story, is a way of connecting people.
Exactly.
And that's I find that is a nice purpose to have.
Exactly.
How do you think the podcast coming? How do you feel it going?
I think it's going well. A lot of people now on the road, when they see us on the road, they're saying that, oh, they really like the podcast. And a lot of people try understanding now what it is, because a lot of people are asking, so, oh, it just come out every week and it does things. So we try to explain to them every Saturday at 3 p.m. we just do it. But I'm really happy we have something that persons does look forward to.
Yeah.
We know immediately it wasn't going to be it, but you could see that it growing on people and people actually expecting it now. Mm-hmm. It becoming something that is kind of part of the household. And I like that you're hearing stories from people that you wouldn't necessarily hear from on a normal day-to-day basis. You're hearing from the persons that you wouldn't technically hear their story unless you really get to sit down. So I'm glad that we actually able to do that. We're happy with the person that we had so far. We have some more already recorded to come out.
One of the questions that people has asked, do we have our questions prepared when persons comes on?
Yeah.
People come on an interview.
Yeah. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Two reasons why not. The first reason why not is because most of the time with all the podcasts, we talking to someone who, it ain't like you have a whole big old long catalog of, there are some people that have a lot of things that they did, but because we're just having the normal conversation with normal persons, ain't have no reason to prepare. We're gonna sit down and talk about, okay, what we think,
the bio of the person, like
what we think we could talk about when we sit down with this person.
Yeah.
But it's like a conversation. So wherever this person kind of answer the questions, is kind of where the conversation gonna end up going at a certain point.
And one thing I want to highlight, sorry for cutting you off, is for you to come on and tell us your story, you don't have to have no professional background.
No.
You know, it's just about you. You're entitled to, is your opinion, and
your story.
Everybody have their own way.
Exactly.
Like you say, you have different perspective.
Yeah.
So some people might be wondering, like, oh, before I come on, I got to really prepare myself. And no, we go with the flow. Don't overthink it. But we enjoy it.
Yeah, because I think a lot of persons even say, like, in the beginning, the first 2-3 minutes, they're nervous.
Yeah.
But after that, you forget the cameras rolling, and you're just having a conversation with the person. And on the end is when you remember, we actually recorded maybe. And then they say, well, boy, it was actually better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Some of them even say, we could do a part 2 even, because at a certain point it become enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because it's just like if you see somebody on the road and you're having a conversation, but this one is just recorded.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we wanna do. It's like we having a conversation that somebody you meet on the road and you're having a long conversation, but it just recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the younger generation, I mean, I want to make myself sound old, but for the younger persons younger than us, that they could eventually go
Look back.
online on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and find these conversations and know what happened and how it went and things like that.
Yeah. So
That's essentially what.
that is one thing, and also I could say we have been receiving a lot of compliments
Yeah.
and support from the community. When they see us on the road, they will tell us how they find the podcast and looking forward for us to continue in. And also from people from abroad, like people who don't live on Stasia, have family
Yeah.
connections here.
Yeah.
You often hear them say like, so happy to have this. We have this podcast because at least they can be like in the loop into maybe someone who's on the chair on the podcast. They like, get in touch with them and know somewhat was the different developments going on and
Exactly.
also hearing their story.
Exactly.
I think that's a way of them connecting even though from a distance.
Exactly. Exactly.
That is that's something that I like, and like I say, is to build a community that is have an understanding for each other, empathy. Sometimes you might be wondering, I see this person, but I don't know why they're like this. But everybody have a story behind
Exactly.
it. Everybody has a reason.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I enjoy it so far because
too.
there's
Me too,
conversations
for sure.
that I like.
Yeah.
I always like to know. I'm always a curious
Yeah.
person.
And it never surface level conversations. It might
Yeah.
it start off a little slow, but eventually you get into the like you say, you get into the why this person this way, what it is going on, the different things they overcome and things like that. So that's what made the conversations enjoyable for us for sure.
And if you made it so far to the interview, to this podcast, don't forget to subscribe. That is something that we really, look out to, because based on that we know like, okay, they really want to see the more content coming out. And when it comes to that, I want to know about Facebook. Why do you post on YouTube and not on Facebook, the videos?
Number one, I think the holy grail for everybody is YouTube. Because when you have an audience on YouTube, you have an audience typically forever.
Yeah.
You could remember the last time you ever unsubscribed from somebody on YouTube?
No.
Because you don't want to be, but you could remember something, maybe on Facebook you're on like or on friend, or on Instagram you unfollow somebody because you just don't.
Yeah.
Typically on YouTube, it's a more core audience, it's a more well built, put together audience. So that's why I focus more on YouTube. And also with all the videos I used to do in the past, I used to be, I used to be on YouTube or wherever looking on what's the best way to put this out, what's the strategy for this, what's the strategy for this. And for example, like certain videos we have a good bit amount of views on YouTube, like past 1K and things like that. And if it was on Facebook, it's different. Because on Facebook, if somebody posts a video and they put up a video, if you scroll past a video and you see it for a second, 2 seconds, it counts as a view immediately. Whereas on YouTube, you have to watch the video for at least, I think, don't quote me, but I think it's at least 30 seconds. You have to watch the video in order for it to count as a view.
Yeah.
So, for example, somebody could click your video by mistake on YouTube and ain't gonna count if they click back off and go to watch something else.
Oh, okay.
However, if on Facebook, you could just be scrolling past and your finger just happened to pause on that pad for a little bit because it did look a little interesting.
Yeah.
And you go on back, it counts as a view.
Yeah.
Immediately.
What I like about it is that when we put it out, we don't put the video itself. We just put like the link to the video. So now you know for sure it's like, okay, it's because they are interested.
Yeah.
So they click on the video to watch it.
Exactly.
And I think on Facebook, sometimes the video does, I don't see it with myself, it automatically plays.
Yeah.
I notice that.
Yeah, because it just, when you pass on it, that's what it do. Automatically play immediately. So it automatically kind of counting as a view. So for example, 1,000 views maybe on YouTube, maybe like 20,000 views or 30,000 views on Facebook. because it's just a person scrolling. But on YouTube, it's somebody actively going and looking and agreeing to this video because agreeing to watch it.
Yeah.
Whether you play it in the background while you're doing whatever or whatever, it just, everybody does try to graduate to YouTube at a certain point. Everybody.
Yeah.
No matter who it is, who you watch, they might be doing a lot of things on Instagram, but they're going to try to find a way to graduate to YouTube because YouTube, at the end of the day, is where it does, it's bread and butter. It's where it does really make things happen.
Yeah. I could also remember that you used to do shorts. I think that's something that we're looking into.
Yeah.
I guess it's time as well. Yeah. We are creating shorts like
TikTok.
I can say like how you used to do it on TikTok.
Yeah.
Where you used to had moments where you like drop the mic and not drop the mic, but you had some really powerful quotes, messages that you used.
Yeah, and technically it was kind of blowing up on the platforms.
Yeah.
Because I had a video I think make at least 500,000 views or something like that. Yeah. But personally, I noticed at a certain point I wasn't ready for it because I didn't prep what to do next after I think it. Like at that time when
why was it? Because you feel like a lot of people was watching at the time?
Yeah, not really. It's just like to come up with these things that I'll be saying on top of the thing is not. It kind of easy. It ain't hard, but it's something I have to really actively sit down and think. And if I'm being honest, I just get in my head a lot when I'm doing those type of things. Then.
But you
so for example,
you said one sometimes. It's true. But yeah.
I just get in my head a lot when I'm doing these certain things because. Yeah, you're just getting a thing like you're doing these things now, you're putting them out. Some of them don't perform well as the others. And even though one pick up, you're still in your thing like, I don't know. It's just something strange about it that I want to, I know.
But yeah, you have a lot of wordplay though.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was a time I was in the kitchen. And then you did something. And then I paused like, oh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
You don't remember what it was either. But
I have to write it down.
But you can remember the pause and I told you like.
Back then, when I had those thoughts,
I used to write it
down.
Yeah.
And that used to become Instagram or TikTok or whatever thing now.
Yeah.
But now I just.
And moment I like, oh wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, I just don't. But I probably want to get back to it at a certain point. But for now, I had some videos that did really well. Even on Instagram, I had some videos that did really well. I think some reached 50K or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's just when you're doing so much too, it is also easy to keep up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had another one where excuse me. 5 more minutes.
No, leave it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did it come to going back to the podcast? People does provide recommendations or even recommend people to you. However, we do find it difficult that it's easier to get, depending on the age group.
So, for example, persons, if I'm being honest, people around our age, easy. People younger than us, easy.
Older.
Even the age that falls just above us, easy too.
Yeah.
But with the older demographic who we really want to sit down to because we want to preserve the stories as much as possible, it ain't as easy. We're still looking into a way to try to make it as easy as possible, but we want to sit down, but some people just send me a message, oh, you could sit down with this one, and you could ask them, but at the same time too...
It's a process on the
because
end.
They also don't understand, they don't quite understand.
Maybe sometimes they overthink it, I think.
That too.
Like, oh, I'm going on a show, I'm going to be on video.
But it's just a normal conversation.
It's a conversation.
Yeah, but we're just recording it. So I think we got to bring it over in a certain way that, hey, it's just a normal conversation that we're having, but it just recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it ain't live. Because some of them think too, it immediately, from the time they're talking to us right here, it immediately live.
Yeah.
So it's something we got to think. But we want to get more...
But let them know too, like, your recommendation does go a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if you yourself watching this and you want to say, hey, I have a story to tell, I feel like it would be interesting, or even sometimes, like, if you find your story could benefit somebody else, I would say, go for it. Don't be afraid. it's your story to tell.
Yeah.
And you never know who else you can help. So not only recommendations, but even yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think
I
we
had we had another one I wanted to talk to you about. It can't come to my mind. When it comes to mental health, right? What is the age you think is the most common where I don't even know how to formulate the question.
I think I know what you mean, though. I think
Most
I know what you mean,
challenge.
like when it is really who does affect, which demographic it affect the
Yeah,
most.
yeah. Which demographic?
Me personally, remember I'm not a professional in this thing, but personally I feel that it does affect persons that fall either in high school. The reason why I say it does fall around here is because that's when you kind of go into school, like you're going to a bigger school, and you're trying to find yourself and figure out your purpose, like what we were talking before.
Yeah.
And that makes it even more
Which
difficult
click.
for yourself. So I think at that point is when you really experience mental health. I don't want to say issues, but mental health. I won't want to say problems either. But you just experience mental health challenges where you just start to, it just give you different emotions, and I think it's around that age group is where it is
And then
actually
sometimes,
begin.
yeah, it is that age group. It's the age 14. I do notice with you, like, when it comes to that point, we have to prepare ourselves. Because they always say teenagers is the most difficult, challenging part of parenthood. Because they are leaving the childhood and then you're transitioning into adulthood.
Exactly.
So it is a...
I think also, like, if you're being honest, like, your childhood is what does shape
Yeah.
how you're gonna be when you're in those days. So depending on how your childhood is how you're going to be when you hit in that specific, what do you call it, high school? I think the correct term is high school. Yeah, high school, because college is after that. When you're in high school, before that, your childhood is what going to determine how you're going to be in high school. Because even if you watch shows, and then when you watch shows, and then you notice at a certain point the person start to reflect.
Yeah.
Like you. I mean, you don't really watch it because we watch it. I think the first time we started watching it is when we were both living in Holland. You, the show, also watching.
Oh, you?
Yeah, you.
Okay, I thought you mean me.
No, you as in you, the show. And all the things he kind of doing is a reflection on how he grew up.
Yeah.
What happened to him, who used to lock him in a cage, and all the type of things he end up doing to people. Maybe in his mind is normal.
Yeah.
But technically, but it's just to show that it's your childhood is what is really
always
affect how you're going to be in the society in a later term.
Yeah, I totally agree. Your childhood does have a big impact. As adult as you may be, as old as you may become, your childhood, you'll always be reverted back to that.
Exactly.
And that is one question we just often ask on the podcast. Even though we just want to know, because different people may come from different backgrounds and upbringing, we always just ask the question, what was your childhood like? If you can remember. And I think that question, I think that's a part of why I love childhood, childcare. Because you can't fix, because everybody have a different household. So you gotta keep that in mind. But when it comes to children, you really have to be careful the things you say.
Yep.
How you do, and not to say you're going to be perfect, but
but nobody can be perfect. At the end of the day, everything is.
I should just say how you cope, how you handle situations.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the main thing, and things you say, can really thing. Like I know some people like persons like they maybe had a teacher who used to talk down on them, telling them that they wouldn't be nothing. Yeah. Like, okay, you're a teacher, but the things that you can say to a child can affect them for the rest of their life.
Exactly. And they're going to internalize it and probably hold on to it.
Yeah.
Especially
if you don't have a low self-esteem, you don't know what type of household a child coming from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you putting that on top. Anyway, we ended a little heavy here. So I'm done because I could go on and on.
Yeah.
But that is a passion of mine, childcare. And yeah, I don't know what else we had.
No, I don't think we have anything else, honestly. Now and then we're going to have conversation like this. Not every podcast going to always be, we just say it in the beginning, that we wanted to do sometimes podcasts with just ourselves. And we do have some real nice ones coming up for me. Yeah. So look out for those.
That is it. As you say on Jacquil imagery, the
like
talk.
I say, Jacquil imagery, the talk. Capture the moment. Watch it forever. See you guys in the next episode. Bless.
Thank you for watching.